Okay, so limicons, since it's sine, I'm expecting symmetric with the y-axis, and let's plot some points. So if I plug in angle 0, I get 3. Pi over 2, I get 5. Pi, I get 3. 3 pi over 2, I get 1. And 2 pi, I get 3 again. Okay. All right, so let's get this going. So again, it's just the polar axis, but I superimpose my xy. So angle 0, I'm out 3. Angle pi over 2, I'm up 5. And then 3 again, right? And then down here, going to 1, and then back here again. So it's a dented heart. The dent of the heart does not go to the origin on a limicon. So it stays out here. Okay, so that's the sine, and it's symmetric with respect to the y-axis. So let's go do this one here. That's very, very similar, right? So let's plug in some points. Angle 0 is going to give me 3. Then I'll get a 1, and then a 3 again. This will give me 5, and this will give me 3. Okay, so there's my polar axis, my xy axis. So angle 3, and then here at 1. And then back here at 3, and then 3 pi over 2, I'm going to go down to 5, make that a little bigger, and then back here. Okay, so I'm expecting a dented heart, so for that reason, I know this is going to go up and out like that. All right, so the next couple are very, very similar. Angle 0 is going to give me 5, 3, 1, 3, and 5 again. Okay, so out here at 5, and then 3, 1, 3, back to 5. So because I know what I'm expecting, oops, kind of lumpy there, sorry. I know I'm expecting a limicon, so with the dent of the heart doesn't go to the origin, but it is still heart-shaped. And so it kind of loops out there. I must do this last one. So I would get 1 and 3, and this would give me 5, 3, and 1 again. Okay, so 1, 3, way back here at 5, and then here at 3. Well, maybe I'll make it big down here with 3. And so I'm expecting a heart-like shaped, right? So it's going to be like that. Again, the dent does not go into the origin. Okay, so those are limicons. Okay, so now we have flowers. So flowers are where there's a number in the angle, right? So like sine of or cosine of 3 theta. So what the flowers are. So if this number n is odd, I'm going to have n petals. Like this here, this number n here is odd, so I'm going to have 3 petals. If this number n is even, I'll have 2 times n petals, like 4 petals if n was 2. Okay, or like this one, here n is 4, that's even, so I'm going to have 8 petals. It is never going to be necessary for you to sketch out all the petals. What we're going to be interested in is drawing one petal, tracing out one petal, and this is what you'll need to find the angle boundaries of one petal. So if it's cosine, we know it's symmetric with the x-axis, right? So with the x-axis, so I'll go negative pi over 2n to pi over 2n, and that will give me one petal. So here my n is 3. So if I go a negative pi over 6 to an angle of pi over 6, right? So the angle pi over 6 to negative pi over 6, this will give me one petal. So let me just show you by plugging some angles in, right, to show you what I get. So if I plug in negative pi over 6 and 0 and pi over 6 into this, let's see what happens. If I plug in negative pi over 6, this gives me cosine of negative pi over 2, which I know is 0, right? Then I plug in angle 0, and that gives me 2. And if I plug in pi over 6, that's going to give me a cosine of pi over 2, and that's 0. So again, here's my xy axis. So at negative pi over 6, I'm at 0, which means I'm at the origin. Then at angle 0, I go out to 2, and I know I'm tracing out a petal, so it must come like this. And at angle pi over 6, I come in here. So this is the area, or this would be tracing out one petal. So starting here at negative pi over 6, angle 0, angle pi over 6. And if I was to draw the rest of these petals, it would be like something like this and like this. Again, you won't ever need to draw out all of the petals, guaranteed. Okay, so you can see this is symmetric with the x-axis, right? Okay. So 8 petals, so let's look at what the angles would be, right? So the n is 4, so negative pi over 4 times 2 would be 8, right? And then up to angle pi over 8. So again, if I was to superimpose my xy axis here, right? Then negative pi over 8 would give you here, angle 0 would be here, and then angle pi over 8 would be here. So they'd be much smaller than this because I'd have to fit 8 petals all the way around here. I'm not going to even attempt to draw it, but that would be what would happen. Okay, so this is something you'll want to have starred so you know how to get to it and use it. So if I have, better stop here.